Why, hello there, everyone. My name is Stephen Norman. I'm going to be the person presenting our webinar for today. Thank you all for joining us. I do want to give it an extra minute or so, just in case if anybody's joining in from another meeting or anything. Also, lets everybody get settled. If you're taking notes, lets you grab a pen. But our webinar for today is called Getting Started with Automated Messages in Constant Contact. So we're going to be talking about those automations that you can set up inside of your account, where they can start responding back to contacts when they fill out a form or do any variety of actions. Now, this is a live webinar. I do see the questions popping in, which I do encourage. Use that Q&A panel over on the right-hand side. But the first question I see, is this recorded? Yes, this is being recorded, and you will get that recording emailed out to you later on today. But let's jump in, because Constant Contact, we have a lot of different features, a lot of different tools all under our platform. So if you do want to know about more, we have other webinars going over things like email, or if you're trying to figure out how to put your contacts in the account, or if you just need to get more contacts. There's ads, social media, text message marketing. But the one we're going to be focusing on is right up here. We're going to be talking about automation for today. Now, I've worked with small businesses for over a decade, and one of the biggest things I've heard is that there never seems to be enough hours in the day. A small business owner wears plenty of hats, as we all do, but that means they need a little extra help. Automations are there for that help. If you're trying to have your conversations start off a certain way, automations are fantastic for that. If you just want to have people be more interactive with the things that you're sending them, it helps them drive them to taking that action. And then from there, the power of automation marketing, one of the main reasons why people look for this is that it increases productivity and reduces overhead. And that kind of makes sense. If the emails are going out on their own and you don't have to log in or do anything for it, it means you can be doing something else with that time that you've saved. And welcome emails are often one of the highest performing emails inside of the entire account in most cases. And the abandoned cart email, for those of you that are doing e-commerce or those of you that have an online store connected to your Constant Contact account, abandoned cart emails can bring people back to your websites 30% of the time. That's a huge deal. Now, with all this combined, it just shows that automations are there working in the background. That's really a huge part. Now, we've broken up the webinar so we can kind of structure for those of you that might not know anything about automations, or if this is your first time. Again, this is a getting started webinar. So we're here to break it down. Starting off with, it's how do you engage your audience? What are some ways that you can use automation? That's what we're going to go through first. Following that up, we're going to talk a little bit more to the technical details. What do I need to click on? What buttons do I need to press? How do I set up and make an automation? And then the last thing that we're going to do is we're jumping into a live Constant Contact account. And then we're going to be making a few automations just so we can see what that looks like and just kind of visualize and know, oh yeah, if I wanted to start out with an email, that's how I do that. Now from there, if you have any questions, my name's Stephen Norman. Ask them in the Q&A panel over on the right-hand side. I love when people ask questions, especially gives me knowledge, if you want to see something during the demo, if you have a specific situation, or if it's just something that you've run into. Questions are fantastic. I always like using them as examples later on too. So how to engage your audience through automated messages. This is a really big deal for people. If you've never used automations before, we're going to have a lot of examples, a lot of examples in this first part. So don't feel like you have to write them all down or anything like that. But these are the main ways that people often fill the need that automations can help with. This is what's commonly referred to as a welcome series. This is really, really popular. It has been since about 2001, and even before then, all the way back to 1997. This is what's often sent out right after you fill out a sign up form on a website. So the example that we have on screen, there's two emails, one with a dog carrying a toy and another one sitting down and looking towards the camera. The first one that would go out is the little dog carrying the toy. And it just says, "Hey, thanks for your support. This is an email from Hearts and Tails Animal Rescue." So this is a pet shelter. And obviously, their whole goal is to get pets and have them adopted. So their email just essentially summarizes, "Hey, at Hearts and Tails Animal Rescue, here's what we do. You're going to expect to get," and then they tell them how many emails they plan to send. "As thanks for signing up, click this button and download that PDF guide, our adoption guide." So there's a lot of things that you can do with a welcome email. And as we can see, the bullet points over on the left, let them get to know your business or organization. This is really huge. I want to stress that this happens automatically. So if somebody signed up on that website looking to know more about dogs at 1 o'clock in the morning, well, this email goes out a few minutes later. And that person can start reading away on that guide and get so excited, fall asleep, wake up, and rush off to go adopt their new dog. Now, the second email goes out a few days later. So 2 or 3 days later, it says, "Hey, if you don't check your email every day, but let's say you're on social media every day, here's the platforms that we're on. If you follow us there, you might get updates more often than when we send out emails." So it's a really good follow-up email that they could have as well. And I just want to highlight the second bullet point that's here is that it communicates when they're highly engaged. That's the example that I gave earlier. Again, you can set these up to go automatically when someone fills out a sign up form. Pedro, I do see your question. Is there a limit to the number of emails that you can have go out? For one series, the technical limit, just due to like restrictions, is 31. I believe you might be able to get that up to 100, but you have to check your account. It'll tell you inside of the account. Now, from here, if you go on to the A Lead Nurture series, turns them into customers or donors. This is a huge part for people who are trying to get leads from their website to actually engage with them a little bit more. Tyler, this was a perfect answer to your question. Tyler, I'm going to read your question aloud too, just so kind of everybody knows what was asked. We all kind of stay on the same track. But Tyler, your question was from the very start. We have a website where people are emailing us questions, and we're not sure because we get the same questions so often. Is there anything you would recommend for us? I would recommend a lead nurture series. So let's say if you're in that exact situation, Tyler, where people are always asking the same question, this is very common for like event planners. This is very common for nonprofits. This is very common for churches. But lead nurture series, let's say if somebody goes to the website and they want to learn more about the adoption process, they can fill out a sign up form, and this email series is what they'll get over the next few days. So it provides more information about you. Hey, here's a background on the business. Here's where we started from, or here's what's something that makes us exceptional. And then there's always that button at the very bottom of all of these emails that we can see. It's very consistently there, that call to action, where if they do like that content in that email, it moves them closer to taking action because they can just click that button and they're on the website at that point. That's a really good goal. So again, Lead Nurture series, it's just a series where it follows up educating people or maybe answering questions that you have to go over a lot. So following that up, this is a really good thing for a lot of people who are looking for personalization. So Rodriguez, I see, let me scroll back up real quick. So sorry. Sulema. So Rodriguez and Sulema, your questions about how do you get more personal with contacts if these emails are automated. If you want to get more personal and still use automations in the same time, I would really recommend birthday and autumn and anniversary emails. So for your automated question, that was how do I get more personal, Rodriguez? That would definitely be the answer there. And if you want to send out annual emails, anniversary emails is how you would do that. These are things that you can set up. I really want to make a common example. If anybody has like a favorite restaurant that you go to, if you've ever signed up on their website and it's asked you for your birthday, you might get a coupon around your birthday saying, "Hey, You signed up on this restaurant's website. Here's a free 20% off if you come in for your birthday. So birthday coupons are extremely common, and it's a really easy way to build that personalization. And anniversary emails, a very common example. Let's say you're a gym and you sell gym memberships. They're like 1 month, 6 months, 12 months. Well, if somebody signs up for a 1 year gym membership, you might want to have an anniversary email that says, hey, take a before and after picture. And don't forget, 1 month until your annual renewal comes up. Don't forget. And you can set up like an anniversary email. This is very common for real estate. Hey, we know you just moved in. If you have any questions, et cetera, et cetera. Very, very good questions so far. Keep them coming. Miriam, I see your question as well. I use cold calling to get leads. We're actually going to go into that a little bit further on. But the other questions I want to answer real quick as well. Anna, your question from the very, very start of the webinar, I just connected my Shopify account and it prompted me about the abandoned cart. What is that? So this is actually a very good place to actually go over that. Perfect slide. So Anna, the Shopify is your online store. So if somebody goes to a store, let's say I have a t-shirt shop called Brand Store, and let's say they visit my website. They put a few items in the cart, but they don't complete that checkout. So they have items sitting in their cart, but they didn't like finish payment, shipping, all that kind of stuff. And they left that website. Well, Shopify 4 hours later that same day will be like, you put some things in your cart and then you just left it. Did you mean to do that? And it'll just shoot them a reminder email. One we can see here is, hey, you left some great items in your cart. Go ahead on back and finalize your purchase. And here's a 10% off to help you do so. That is really huge. These abandoned cart emails most often have like a 30% standing open rate over their lifetime. That's a pretty big deal, getting a lot of people back to the website that way. So very, very good question as well, Anna. Now, from there, onboarding series. So going back even further. So Roland, your question from the start of the webinar, we are only looking to follow up with past clients as they are our main source of referrals. What would you recommend? Very good question. I think you heard me answer the other question that was phrased that way. That's really funny. Or you guys might be from the same company. I can't tell. But the onboarding series is the answer to your question. This is what happens after somebody makes a purchase. So if we go back to that first example, like a pet shelter, this would be, hey, congratulations on adopting your pet. Here's what you need to do. Here's our house training lessons. Here's our obedience training that we hold at the local park, et cetera, et cetera. You can provide them information. You can thank them for their purchase. You can make sure that they see success with whatever it is that they just purchased. Help them get started with it. If it's something more complicated, and they most oftenly come back and they're like, hey, I was doing fine, but then I struggled with this part, add an email that follows up with an answer to that problem. If you get asked that question super commonly, you can put in educational emails in. And the last one, this is, I'm going to scroll back up and just read off a few names. So Roland, Patricia, Jim, and Marianne. So for all of you that were asking, can automations help me get reviews? Answer to that question is yes. So an onboarding series is targeted towards people who have made a purchase. People who have made a purchase are perfect to leave a review. And if something went wrong and you get a bad review, you can address that way beforehand because you proactively sought it out. You can tackle that before it gets nasty. And if it's a good review, that's amazing. That's going to last a long time. So asking for feedback is a vital part of an onboarding series. And you can set that last email. Marianne, I saw your question. Sometimes people need to get through the training courses for up to 80 hours in order to get their credit. Is there any way that you would recommend stalling or quote unquote pausing emails for that long? The answer is yeah, that's totally fine, actually. You would just add a delay where, like, for the example that we see on screen, the first two emails would go out in like the first week after they purchased. And then that last email would go out about like a month or even 2 months after, So you can totally set delays like that, Marianne. That is a very good question. That is totally correct. Now, Miriam, are there templates for please leave us a review? Yes, there are. When you're going into the account and you're setting up the emails and you click that create button, you'll have all those constant contact templates as well. I recommend setting up your brand kit. This is kind of a universal call out for everybody on this webinar. If you have not set up your brand kit for your constant contact account, I would highly recommend doing so. I'll do a quick mention of that a little later on. We're in the live demo. But I just saw 7 questions pop in about making templates a little bit easier. Are there templates? How do I get the template to look like my company with the logo at the top, like the example on screen? So I'm going to go back to that a little bit later on, but I love these questions. Keep them coming, everybody. You're doing great. Now, the most common overall series, Miriam, if you're doing cold calling, this is what we recommend. If you're just getting started and you have not done any automations before, this is what we recommend. So if you have not done anything, this is the most general one that you would want to start with. This is called an action series. If you have leads, if you have new clients, if you have new customers, whatever you might refer to them as, and you want them to be active with your business or nonprofit, then you need to make sure that they know that's what they should do. You have to educate them. They don't know automatically. So first off, give them reasons why someone would engage with that. In the second email, highlight something unique about your business. And the last one, FOMO, fear of missing out. Show them what they are missing out on. Now, this is going to be the email series that we build out in our live demo. So we're not going to spend too much time here, simply because we're going to be seeing this a lot later on for the second half of the entire webinar. Now, I've mentioned this before. There have been a lot of questions about events, running events easier. Can this be used for registration and information? The answer to those questions are almost yes, almost all the way through. So Hernando, your question about events, if someone registers, can I make sure that they get all the information prior to the event, such as 3 emails in a week if they register that close to the deadline? The answer to that question is yes. If you have this anticipation series set up inside the account where it kind of gives them important details. Hey, this is when it starts. Here's the start time. Here's the address of where to start. You can give parking recommendations and such as well too. But you're providing those important details. You're sharing preparation information. You're getting them educated on what the event is or what the purpose of the event is. You're helping them get excited. This automation series is where if they need this event information, again, let's say they're on a website and they just sign up to know about the event before they register. Well, this automation series would pick up the moment they fill out that form. And you could set the delays to just simply be 2 days in between each email. That way they'd get that information in a week. And this person would be automatically getting it as well. You wouldn't have to worry about going in, logging in, checking for anybody that might be new, and then seeing if they've gotten part 1 or part 2. It takes care of all of that, runs on a track. Make sure each person gets all 3. So very, very good questions so far. I'm saving a few of these questions if I haven't answered yours so far. Just know I might have pulled it off to the side. Some of these questions are perfect for when we're in the live demo, because I'll be able to show it live on screen. But these are keep them coming. These are awesome. Now from here, I will make a brief mention, simply because email is very commonly talked about nowadays as being paired with text messages. And since automations can include sending out a text message when somebody signs up, well, that also becomes a part of our conversation. But I have to mention, since SMS is not included on all plans, it is an add-on. So since it's not included on every plan, we're not going to necessarily focus on it too much for today's webinar. But just know if you do want to throw in automated text messages into the mix of emails that you're sending out, That is totally fair. Now, at this point, I know we're kind of at that first 1/3 mark. So let me summarize the main goals if you're new to automation. What should you be focusing on? Well, check your account. If you do not have a welcome email or welcome series, that should be your first goal. Not funny, funny note, not too long ago, I actually figured out that I've seen over 20,000 constant contact accounts in my time. And in that time, I'd probably say there's about 4 out of 20,000 that really did not need a welcome email. The other 19,000, they needed a welcome email for sure. So pretty much everybody could use a welcome email series for their business or organization. So just make sure to double check your account and see if you have one. If not, what a fantastic starting place. From there, personalization is a fairly easy practice point. So if you want to dive in and maybe get a little more familiar with automations before you start making any custom series or anything like that, you can start with birthday and anniversary messages. And then from there, because automations are kind of meant to be built to fit your specific goals, you can start designing them the way you want. So let's jump into the technical side. We've talked about all these ideas. We can kind of see, oh, yeah, automations can be applied dozens and dozens of different ways. It's kind of the shape that you want it to take at the end of the day. Well, let's talk about how do you shape that automation. So, what are the parts and pieces that go into an automation? The thing that starts an automation is called a trigger. A trigger is the thing that kicks off that automation. It's the gun that fires off in the air that says the race has now started. Now, what can a trigger include? Well, it can include somebody subscribes, like going to a website and typing in their information in a box, clicking that sign up button. Or let's say if they get tagged inside of the account as like, hey, this is a VIP. Oh, that's a VIP. Let me send them a VIP thank you. They must have donated $1,000 or more in the most recent effort. And then they automatically get $1,000 thank you dono because they were tagged as $1,000 donor. Added to a specific segment. Hey, I want to see all the contacts in my account who have not opened any email. Anything I've sent them. I want to see the contacts who have opened 0 emails for an entire year. I'm going to send them a 70% off just to see if I can get them into the store. Birthday, anniversary, clicked a link in an email, low engagement, and then several options with e-commerce. So a trigger is pretty much any action that a contact does. Now, tags are a very specific identifier. It's like putting an extra notification or signifier on somebody. Like I could tag a contact as a VIP, and you tag your contacts. Very good question, Lorna. Fantastic. Can I have both a contact tag and subscriber added to a list? You can. You can actually put tags into the flow of your automation as well, Miriam. Very good question. Now, following this up, there's other tools than just the trigger. There has to be ways for your automation to pace itself. If you set up 10 emails, you don't want it sending all 10 emails in 5 minutes. No. So there are time delay blocks that you can put into your series. And they are exactly as they say. They just allow you to delay the sending out of your emails. Then following that up, we mentioned this a little bit earlier. Not everybody follows the same path, but this is where you can help people be more personalized. So a yes path and a no path. If somebody subscribed and they signed up for text message updates, they get an email, and then the next thing they get is a text message. If they signed up, but they did not check the box to get text messages, they get an email, and then the next thing they get is an email. Again, because they didn't sign up for those text message updates. So conditional splits will allow you to separate contacts down different paths. With this, and I just want to mention this real quick, William, with splitting paths like this, You can split a path after you've split a path. Just to answer your question specifically, William, yes, you can do that specific example. Now, over here, what can you do with conditional splits? Did they take an action? So, like if somebody's really interacting with your emails, you might want to have them move over and get like a VIP email. Or if they're not engaging with their emails, you might want to give them a higher discount. What's their shopping activity? Again, going back to that e-commerce examples. Did they place an order? Send them a thank you email. Number of orders they've placed, total they might have spent at your store. Now, I want to take a moment and mention content can be very powerful in automations. I will have mentioned this is a more advanced tool. So if you've not spent time with the regular email editor and gotten familiar with moving blocks around, then dynamic content might be a slightly more advanced topic, but it allows you to customize your email content. So for example, if I was shopping on Shabby Chic's website, the example that we see on screen, this example on screen has a big pink pillow as the item that I left in my cart. So the recommendations at the bottom are similar pillows from my website. Well, if I was shopping for bedding, well, the recommendations at the bottom would be dynamic and they would show bedding options. If I was shopping for a sofa, again, that area at the bottom would automatically change and it would show sofas because that's what I was shopping for. So dynamic content can be extremely powerful inside of automations because you can set it up where if somebody wanted to sign up, and let's say you wanted to customize the email by state that somebody's in, make that a required field on the sign up form. That's like the entry point for their automation. So from here, using dynamic content can help you customize your emails based on what that person was shopping for. You can make content dynamic based off of things like location, custom fields, company name, job title. So let's say, again, if you're prospecting leads and you're reaching out to a very specific company and you want to start mentioning that in the body fields of your emails, you can do that. There's a lot that you can do inside of these emails to hyper personalize your content to make it more effective for cold leads, website client inquiries, those kinds of examples. Now, we've talked a lot about ideas, how automations can be used. We've talked about the tools inside of the account and the buttons and what they look like. Let's put them together. Let's jump into the live demo and see what does this look like live in a Constant Contact account. So in just a moment, I'm just logging into a regular, straightforward Constant Contact. There's going to be just a brief moment. Then y'all will see it on screen. There we go. Now I'm logged into this account. This is Jack's Backyard Barbecue, and we're going to be on the marketing and then automations tab. So what page are we on inside of the account? We're under marketing and then automations because we're talking about automations today. Now on this page, I'm just going to click view all templates so we can kind of see our starting screen. But inside of Constant Contact, if I wanted to make an automation, I have two options right away. I can either start with a pre-made template, or I can start building an automation from scratch, starting with the trigger and then building out the rest of it from there. Now, if I go back over here and I use a template, I'm just going to scroll over here and hit start. Here's the templates that are here by default. Now, I will take a moment and mention the Welcome Nurture series and the Welcome Basic. Depending on if you're on a standard plan or a premium plan, you might have different things available. So again, the Welcome Nurture or Welcome Basic are those really good entry starter points. So if you're taking notes or anything like that, for all those note takers out there, If you want to do like a good practice or anything right after the webinar, you would want to have the welcome basic be the one that you practice. Now, from here, if I wanted to, let's say, have something a little more customized, like something more personal, like we mentioned, birthday, basic emails, anniversary emails, and then all of these e-commerce options down here are what you would want to look through if you're having like a Shopify store or a WooCommerce store, a Wix website. So these templates are going to be a huge starting point. I cannot recommend it enough. Where if you're new to automations, start with one of these so you can kind of get familiar with it first. Now I'm going to jump back for just a moment. I'm going to go to create a custom path so we can see what it looks like to create one from scratch. Now, again, I highly recommend starting with a template. I'm just going to show what this looks like so we can see it for educational purposes. Now, if I want to start a automation, the number one thing that it needs to know right away before I do anything else, before I even give it a name, I have to know what is this going to trigger. Is it going to be they filled out a sign up form on my website and they subscribed for emails? Is it their birthday coming up? Is it an anniversary? Were they tagged? Now I want them to get this email series. There's the option that I have to pick, which is my trigger. You cannot skip this one. I'm going to do subscribes for email, just to stick with our standard example that we talked about so far. Then I click create path. Now that we're in here, this is where I can start filling out details. So to answer one of the earlier questions, let me go all the way back up real quick. There we go. So Peter L and Peter M, funny enough, very good questions from both of you. Peter L, your question is, can I have it be set up to where only one section of my account, which is our main contact list, gets the email, but the employees or other lists inside of the account don't? We don't want employees getting these automated emails. They're meant for our customers. That's where this option here of customizing your trigger is the answer to that question, Peter. I can either have it be any list inside of the account, or I can have it only look at a specific list inside of the account. So let's say, for example, if I wanted this to be our cycling club prospects, because we're going to do that Southside Cycling email sign up list, this is how I would do that. If I wanted it to just greet anybody and everybody that got into the account, I would leave it on any list. If I want it to be specific, use the specific option. Now I'm going to hit save. So again, this is a trigger where if somebody goes to Southside Cycling, it's a bike shop, and they sign up for news and information, they get put on the cycling club list inside of the Constant Contact account. Well, that's our trigger. That means when this happens, it follows the little line and it's going to try and do an action. So let's put our first action into our automation. Over on the left-hand side, we have the path builder. This is how I actually build the automation on screen. Now, this is a drag and drop editor, and everything in Constant Contact is left click. There are no right clicks in the Constant Contact program. So if I want to drag this over, I'm just going to use my left click. I'm going to click, drag, 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 drag. And I'm just going to drag this little email block. And I can see I've got like a little plus mark over here showing me where I can put this email block. If I hover my mouse over it, kind of expands into a nice little tray, showing me that I can drop that email in. So again, somebody signs up to be a part of that cycling club, it'll immediately send them a follow-up email when they fill out that form on the website. Now I want to get to this little pop-up window right over here. So let's say if I want to start filling out that email, I want to start writing the content that's going to send out. I can either create a new email from scratch, or I can pick from the Constant Contact templates. Or let's say This isn't like a new account. Let's say you've had your account for a long time, you have emails that you like a lot, and you just wanted to copy your most recent newsletter and just tweak it a little bit and make it into your welcome email. Then just do the copy an existing email option. So if I go down here, you can see we have a few emails set up right down here. I'm just going to do automated email 1. And then for today, I'm just going to include today's date. So we have it in here. There we go. So I'm just copying one of our existing emails. I'm just doing this for the sake of time. If we started an email from scratch, we might not have time to cover questions towards the end of the webinar. Anthony, I see your question as well. What happens if you delete an email from your automation? You have the option to save it like your main campaign, so just like as a regular email, or you can just delete it from the automation as well. Now, here's our example. We saw this earlier on our webinar slides of Southside Cycling, 3 reasons to join the cycling club. Then it lists 3 reasons why you would join the cycling club. But there's 2 very interesting things down here. Sign up today and join virtually. There are 2 different buttons down here. Well, we were going to use this as an example of dynamic content. So if we go in here, let's say if this is a bike shop that is only located in Massachusetts, it would only make sense for people to be able to sign up for the bike shop or the bike club if they're local to Massachusetts. And then if, let's say, they're starting a second location and they're trying to get a club started, they're doing it virtually, well, then they want to have an option where someone from a different state can join virtually. So you can see if someone's state is Colorado, they're going to see the join virtually button. If someone's state is Massachusetts, they'll see the sign up today button. Again, what does that look like live? If we go up here to the top right-hand corner, if I'm not from Massachusetts or Colorado, I don't have an easy sign-up option. Because again, it's a cycling club. They're not trying to get everybody. They're trying to get the people that can show up to these live in-person events. Well, if I am from the right area and I can join locally, and I have that option. If I am not from that local area, but let's say they're still trying to have me sign up, I can join virtually. So this is an example of dynamic content. This is customizing content based on details that your contact would have. Very powerful tool, not required. This is optional. You do not have to go this far with your email design, but I would recommend making it pretty powerful email, especially if you're going to be setting up automations. Now, if I hit save and close, it'll pull me on out from our automated page. Annalise, I do see your question. Can you review the difference between segments and tags? Totally. I'll get through this current example. We might have to circle back to that question towards the end if we have time. But just a brief answer to that. Segments are like a very smart search result, whereas tags are like a sticky note that you put on a contact. So they're very different things. One is like a smart search result, showing you like, here's the contacts that fit that thing you were asking about, versus tags, which is just putting a colorful sticky note on somebody. So that way you can be like, hey, show me all the contacts with a yellow sticky note, or show me all the contacts with a blue sticky note. And we'll go back to that a little bit further on. Now, one other question as well. Is there a reason to put a delay? So Leroy, yes. If you have multiple emails that you want to have your automation send out, then you need to put a delay in between those emails. I would definitely not say to have more than one email go out in a day. Definitely not. Now, definitely say at the bare minimum, at least have it wait at least a day or 2 before following up with them. This is a really good practice not to overwhelm this contact who just signed up. So we can see here, somebody subscribes they get the first email. And we're just following this little dotted line going down. Time delay. It'll wait 2 days. And we can see it's following the little line down. If I drag over another block, drop it in, you can see we're kind of just adding to this automation as we're going down. I'm going to put in another time delay and then another email. And now we can see this is going to follow up with 3 emails total. They sign up, email right away, waits 2 days. Then let's fill out these emails as we're going down. Let's add in that second example email that we had from earlier. Now, a few questions that I'm reading through as we're loading in here. These are fantastic questions, by the way. Absolutely love them. Keep them coming. This is a lot of good info. Is there a recording available? Yes. This session is being recorded, and you'll be emailed that later on today. Or if you don't want to wait like the 4 or 5 hours, I think it takes, something along those lines. Don't quote me on that. This whole session is scripted, so we go through the same content, essentially. You can watch the whole scripted version on YouTube at any point as well, too. This is our second email in our series that follows up, though. So it's talking more about Southside Cycling. It's telling us, why would you want to join the cycling club? Well, it's because of our leader, John. And again, if John is the leader of the cycling club, obviously no other cycling club has him. So it's something unique about this business that no other business could imitate, if that makes sense. So I'll hit save and close here. Let's go over and let's copy our third email in real quick. And then just kind of take a good review of the automation from start to finish and see where we are from there. John, I see your question as well too. Or sorry, John Lynn, I see your question. So let's do this third email real quick. I'll answer that one as we're getting in here. There we go. There we go. Okay. So now as this one is kind of loading in, so Jonathan, so your question is based around when I have a contact who starts an automated series, and let's say they're on email number 3. If that contact goes back to my website and tries to get the coupon from my first email, can they fill out the form? Can they fill out the form again to get the email? They cannot. So I see sorry about that. I don't know why that typo threw me off. If somebody fills out that sign up form again, and they're trying to get, like, let's say that same automated series, that series will not send off to that person twice. So they can't like cheat the system and fill out the automated sign up form 10 times to try to get that automated coupon. Once the automated series sends off to that person, they go back with that same email and fill it out again. It won't work. Now, third email that we see here is that fear of missing out email. So this is the third email that would go out in our automated series. And it's just talking about what they're missing out on if they don't join the cycling club. Now I'm going to hit save and close. We're going to take an overview of our series so far so we can see what would people normally have as an onboarding series. Well, let's kind of scope in on this part real quick, and let's start from the top. There we go. So trigger, somebody signs up. So if somebody goes to Southside Cycling and let's say they're trying to learn more or they're trying to get into cycling overall, they fill out that sign up form that's on that website, they would immediately get an email back. This was that first email kind of talking about 3 reasons to join the cycling club. Kind of mentions that it's free, you get gears and discounts, you can stay fit. And again, if I was from Massachusetts, I'd see a button. If I was from Colorado, I'd see a button. If I'm not from either of them, I don't see anything. Now from there, it kind of waits 2 days. So it kind of puts everybody in a holding pattern. And then once that time frame is up, they would be sent the second email in this series. This one's just talking about John, leader of that cycling club. Then again, it's going to wait a little bit. It's going to wait a little bit longer. We don't want to be sending too much information too quickly. I'm going to kind of give them a little bit of time. So we have this wait a week and then send them a third email. And this third email just talks about what they're missing out on if they don't join the cycling club. So this just kind of mentions, hey, look at all the places we've been, the things we've done. This is just from this year alone. Join us for the second half. See you on the trail. Now, I want to mention, if you want to continue from here, you can. If I wanted to, let's say, have my path split, where if they're engaging, then they're going to get a special email. And if they're not engaging, they're going to get a different email. Well, that's exactly what you can set up here. Then I can go right up here and I can say, for this split, if they are clicking stuff in my third email, then they go down the yes path. If they don't click a single thing in that third email, they go down the no path. So conditional splits, it's based on their activity. As you can see here, it says contact activity. Contact will follow the yes path if they clicked a link, any link in the third email. So from there, they would either go down yes or no, depending on if they clicked on anything in that third email. So there are a lot of tools, a lot of features that you can kind of build into your automation. From this point, you can have them be updated. You can add a tag that says, hey, I want to put a sticky note on everybody in this path that they're highly engaged right now. I can move these around, I can rearrange them. And you can see this is a freeform sandbox. So you're really meant to kind of design it to fit your goals at the end of the day. But these are just examples to help you get started and kind of think about it in the right structure. Now, if we move back up here to the top, if I wanted to edit this trigger one more time, I do the three little dots, I click edit. Stacy, to answer your question, is it limited to one list? If I go back up here, you can see we currently have Cycling Club prospects selected. If I want to select another list, I just click over here on the side, and I can add in any other list that I want to. So I am not limited to the one list. I can tie this to a few different lists if I wanted to. Now, a few of the other questions that we see so far, let me cancel out of this real fast. Now, from here, we're going to jump back into our presentation for just a brief moment, and then we'll see if we have time for a little bit of Q&A towards the end, because Annalise, we might have time to go over segments and tags. We'll see. So to summarize, we mentioned at the start, if you're new to automations and have not practiced with them or done anything with them in the past, your best practice point would be a welcome series. Vast majority of the time, again, out of the 10,000 out of the 20,000 accounts I've most likely seen in my lifetime here, the welcome series is one of the most forgotten about parts of the account that can have the most impact when corrected. So really recommend checking out your welcome series for your account and just making sure that it's up to date. From there, if you have specific goals or if you have specific features or products or events that you're trying to promote, set up a series that helps support that goal. Oh, we have an event where people need to buy tickets. Well, in order to buy tickets, they need to know when the event is and if they want to go. So set up 2 emails that tell them when the event is and why they want to go, and then ask them to buy a ticket. So there's a lot of ways that you can make your emails more relevant to help people through the journey. And then lastly, start building some of that more powerful content that we talked about with segments, tags, dynamic content, conditional splits. There's quite a bit that you can do to really make those experiences powerful and help people see, oh, I signed up on this sign up form on this pet shelter to try to adopt a dog. And within a week, I felt like I knew everything. They sent me an email about how to potty train it. They sent me an email how to puppy proof my house. I was talking with the wife and they sent me an email the same day telling me when I could come in to see the dogs. It's like they had it all set up beforehand. That's the goal. That's what you should be aiming for with your automations. is that you're helping someone through their journey by answering those questions proactively. So here's how automations break up by plan available in Constant Contact. So there's light, standard, and premium. If you are in light, welcome email. Again, same thing we recommended before. Then pre-built templates, anniversary emails, birthdays, and one active path. Then standard, everything that is included in light, plus time delays, automated resends, and you can have 3. Premium, you can start including e-commerce blocks. You can start building those custom paths, and you can have an unlimited number of active paths. If you are struggling or anything along those lines, I'll be sending a little pop-up for you guys on your end. It's just an offer for marketing services. If you've ever signed up for a gym membership and they've talked to you like, hey, do you know how to use the gym? And you're like, no, I've never really gone to the gym. I don't really work out or anything like that. They'll say, hey, do you want a coach to help you learn the gym for the first few months? Same thing here. If you're new to marketing, if you don't know marketing, get a personal marketing coach. That's what advisors are here to do. We're here to help you learn how to best use your account. And you can request a consultation, which is just asking one of our consultants to reach out to you, and they'll see if you're a good fit for one of the services. So if you're not even sure if you want services or not, if you're a good fit for it or not, just fill out that link, that little offer that popped up for you. They'll just reach out and say, hey, let's find out if you are a good fit or not. So the consultation, entirely free. Services, we're here to help. Now, I'm reading through a lot of these questions. These are perfect questions to ask. Keep them coming, by the way. So let's dive into a few things and then start answering these questions. If you have not yet done so, our follow-up webinar from today is called Getting Started with Text Marketing in Constant Contact. So the follow-up session is called Getting Started with Text Marketing in Constant Contact. This goes over SMS, text message marketing, how to grow your list, how to create text message marketing messages in Constant Contact. And that's going to be the next little pop-up window. It's going to be happening in just a moment for everybody. If you have not yet registered for that, I would highly recommend doing so. Text message marketing is one of the most powerful tools nowadays to pair with email marketing. They go together extremely well ever since like 2001. So really, really recommend pairing them together. Last page before we get to jump into Q&A. If you are new to Constant Contact, if you're just getting started, welcome. We have some of the best new customer hubs around. It's constantcontact.com/get-started. constantcontact.com/get-started. That is our new customer hub. I mentioned earlier the recorded webinars. You'll find them there. If you're just wanting to watch a click-by-click guide of, hey, I just wanted to figure out how to put a PDF into my button on my email, so they download a free guide. There's a click-by-click guide. There's a video guide. There's an educational course on it. And if you're struggling on it, or if you're getting like a weird error message or anything like that, you can also find the customer support number for your area of the world in that area as well too. So constantcontact.com/get-started. Highly recommend. So we have a little bit of time. Let's jump back into the account and let's answer a few of our questions that we have so far. We have one leftover question about segments and tags. Again, our overview is pretty much segments are smart search results and tags are sticky notes. So Sandra, your question on tags, is there a limit to the number of tags? And can you show how to create a tag? If there is a way to do so, I want to make it so that it is made before I make the emails. So you want to make the tags. Okay, I see what you have. Sorry. So if you want to make your tags beforehand, go to your contacts page, and then you're going to go to tags. And then it's this little create tag right over here. And again, this is just a simple label. It's like a sticky note for a contact. Now, Alice and Annalise A quick review of segments. Segments are smart search results. So let's say if I wanted to set up an example segment and I wanted to find all the contacts who are not opening any of my emails that I've sent in the last year, that's what a segment would find. It would go through the account, kind of read through all the reporting. It would make me this fancy search result. And then from there, you can kind of make it into a list. You can send an email just to this segment of contacts. There's a lot you can do with it from there. For those of you that want to know more about contacts, by the way, there is an entire contacts webinar. If you want to see all of our master webinars, you can even get to them from inside of the account just by clicking the question mark in the top right-hand corner. All of our webinars can be found here as well. Now, Annalise, your other question, is there a way to add in a stopgap so that you can review a group before in the middle of an automation? No, there is not. Automations have that wait period, and then when that wait period is done, they simply just move down. If you want to have like a stopgap, you could do like a conditional split and just kind of hard push people into like a no path unless you manually go in and add a yes under that custom field. That's one way that you could add a manual stopgap in. But outside of that, there's not too much of an option for it, unfortunately. But again, if you want to set up a manual stopgap inside of your automation, you would add in, for example, a 3-week time frame. Then for that 3-week time frame, you would just need to pay attention to signups into the top of that funnel. So slightly more advanced, but very good question on that note. Now from here, is there a way for me to copy an automation if there is one already inside of our account? Very good question. Let me scroll back up real quick. There's like 5 questions that pop up at once. I'm so sorry, Corey. Your question got pushed up very quickly all at the very end. But yeah, last call. If you have any questions, now's the time to put them in. But yeah, if I go over here to automations, if I go down, let's say if I had started on one and I wanted to use this as like a basis for like my future automations, like imagine if this was my pet shelter adoption series where I set it up and it's everything about everything dog related, and I wanted to copy it to make a cat version. It's the 3 little dots on the right, edit, and then you can go in and you can start copying all of these emails. So from here, let's jump back out to our presentation. One last thing I'll mention too, if you want to add a tag over here on the left-hand side, you can also have them get updated as a contact field. So Liberty, I know you asked a question, if a hospital needs to have patient ID be tracked for every email, is there a way for custom fields to be included when they are sent an invoice or some sort of bill so we can notify our companies that need to know? Yes, you would do the update contact field for that situation. And then for your specific situation, you would want to have a custom field for your account. I would not recommend a tag. I would recommend a custom field. Very, very good questions so far. But jumping back into our presentation just for a brief moment. Again, if you need any further assistance or anything like that, constantcontact.com/get-started. You can also call our live support. You can see all of our follow-up sessions from there. Paul, I do see your question. I will probably follow up with an email afterwards, kind of answering a few of those questions in there. But that's a very interesting situation to hear of, but I'll definitely check into them. So thank you all for your time. The last thing to ask of is register for the next webinar. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week, and go ahead and I hope you all tackle your automations. Have fun. Take care.